Welcome to the electronic lesson. Today we are going to discuss about electronics. What is electronic? What are semiconductors and the two types of semiconductors? Doping and the two types of doping. Biasing, PN junction diodes, functions of diodes, rectification. In rectification there are half wave and full wave rectification. Smoothing, LED and solar cells and panels. Introduction to electronics. It is the branch of science. Electronics is the branch of science and technology which deals with the motions of electrons in various systems or devices. We all now learn about the electricity. Electricity is also the branch of science. And in electricity we are learning about electric conductors, electrical appliances and devices. In electronics we are learning about electronic devices, how electronic devices are functions with the electric supply. This is the most amazing thing, electronics. After the invention of electronics, this world is amazed by electronical components because these electronical components are very tiny. They can get the small space to include large number of informations in it. As well, electronic devices are made by semiconductors, not like conductors. Semiconductors having prominent properties. We'll discuss the prominent properties of semiconductors if we want to learn about electronics thoroughly. Electronic materials are three types. As we all know, conductors, insulators and semiconductors. Conductors are the instruments, they conduct electricity, and the conduction of electricity using conductors are with a low resistance. Therefore, current can passes through in the conductor completely. All the metals are comes under conducting materials. Especially copper is the well-known conductor which is used in electrical wires and electric appliances. There are some other conducting materials too. Silver, gold, aluminium, nickels also comes under conducting materials. If we go to about the insulators are the substances which do not passes electricity or electric current. These insulating materials which have high resistance which suppress the electrical current. Example, wood, glass, plastic such as. And semiconductors. Semiconductors are the highlights of our studies related to electronics. These semiconductors are not like conductors as well as not like insulators. These are showing the properties of conductors and insulators. These lies in between the conductors and insulators. It means semiconductors can pass the electric current in a small amount. Normally, the group 4 elements carbon, silicon and germanium, these are showing the semiconducting properties. Now let's see what are the differences between electrical and electronic devices. Electrical devices, as we all know, they are previously decided. It means they cannot be taken the decisions for the situations. But in the electronic devices, they are functioning and they are scheduled to make decisions such as phones, computers, and electrical devices are working with the high voltage current, but the electronic devices are working with low voltage current. This is the plus point of electronic devices, because while we are working with the electrical devices we have to consume more energy, but when we are working with the electronic devices we no need to consume more energy. Electrical devices are produce current and voltages. Electronic devices are control current and voltages. And electrical devices work with AC current. AC current, you all know, alternate current, and electronic devices work with direct current. And electrical devices work with minimum 110 volt, and electronic devices can be work with minimum of 5 volts. It means that save lot of electric current. And electric devices such as motors and transformers, we all know, and the electronic devices such as semiconductors, transistors, diode, those are right. Let's we move about the electronic devices. Diode, transistors and amplifiers, these are found in IC circuits and whatever the electronic circuits. These are made up of semiconducting materials. It is important to understand the basic atomic structure when we are talking about the semiconducting materials, how they are conducting electricity. For the better understanding, we have to move on with the semiconducting materials. Semiconducting materials whose electrical conductivity lies between those the conductors and insulators are known as semiconductors. These semiconductors has the crystalline formation in its solid state. It means in this crystalline formation, semiconductors shows the amorphous properties. You all know amorphous properties means the metallic and non-metallic characteristics. During the metallic characteristic, they can show the electric conductivity, and they have also the non-metallic characteristics too. Whether they are conducting electricity, they are not lesser than the electric insulators, but they conduct electricity not uh, greater than the conductors. It means semiconductors conduct electricity in between those conductors and insulators. As we discussed earlier, semiconductors conduct electricity in a small amount. If we are talking about the semiconducting elements, really we want to consider about the group 4 element. Group 4 elements are very prominent while they are doing conducting uh, purposes. Silicon and germanium are highlighted elements under semiconducting materials. Those can be formed the crystalline structure in its amorphous solidic state. Then carbon also the conducting material which can passes electricity through in it. All these elements are lies in fourth group in the periodic table. So to learn about these elements, we need to go through with the structure of atomic structure of them. You all know already the atomic number is the prominent one and the special one to identify and categorize the features of an atom. So we'll move with the atomic structure of semiconducting elements such as silicon and germanium. As we know, the silicons having the atomic number of 14 and germanium having the atomic number of 32. Then if we move with the diagram, silicon 14, that's atomic number, while we are writing the uh, atomic structure with the electronic configuration, 2 electrons, and in the second orbit 8 electrons, and in the fourth orbit, that is the outermost orbit, there are 4 electrons in the outermost orbit in silicon. As well, whether we considered about this 32 atomic number with the germanium atom, there are also 2, 8, 18 and 4. There are also 4 electrons in the outermost element, outermost orbit. So these 4 electrons in the outermost orbits, they tend to make the covalent bonding structure with the nearby atom in a crystalline formation. Whether the silicon ions are nearby with another silicon ion, they need to have their outermost orbit to the stable position. To become a stable state of this outermost orbit, they have to fulfill their outermost electrons with number 8. So as they having the 4 electrons, they need to know, they need to complete with other 4 electrons by the bonding with the neighboring atom. So these structures are making crystalline formation while they are combining with the uh, atom closer to it with the covalent bond. So silicon and germanium having 4 outermost electrons in their atomic structure. Crystal lattice structure forms by sharing 4 electrons to make covalent bonding with 4 nearby atoms to have the stable structure with 8 electrons. However, these bonds are very weak. These bonds can be breakable even at the room temperature. Therefore, with the weakening bond, the deficiency of electron can be occurs frequently in the crystalline structure. This deficiency of electron is known as holes. This deficiency of electron known as holes. Here you can look at the structure whether this is the atom of silicon or germanium. There are 4 outermost electron here to while they are having in a bond with the covalent bond with the neighboring atom, there is 1 electron and hole remaining. However, this occurs frequently even at the room temperature. At the room temperature, they have the free electrons and holes. These are freely moving. These freely moving free electrons and holes can carry the electric current throughout the material. In semiconductors, not only the electrons but holes also conduct electricity. But in the electrical devices, as in the copper wire, electrons only conduct electricity. Here, holes are considered as a positively charged particle and electrons are considered as a negatively charged particle. Holes created in the breaking of bond to release an electrons. The number of electron equal to the number of holes present in a semiconductor. Therefore, semiconductor is always electrically neutral. Here we go with the classification of semiconductor. If we classify the semiconductors into 2 types as intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic semiconductors are pure semiconductors. They are naturally formed pure semiconducting material and semiconductors. Those are such as gallium, silicon, antimony. Those things are germanium and silicon are intrinsic semiconductors. And extrinsic semiconductors are, extrinsic means that is not pure. Not pure means with the semiconducting material, the another impurity. Impurity means another element is mixed with the pure semiconducting material is known as extrinsic semiconductors. These are 2 types, N type and P type. In the N type of semiconducting extrinsic semiconductors, there are pentavalent impurity is added to the group 4 element with group 5. Pentavalent mean you all know pentavalent is group 5. Pentavalent means 5 valency of 5 element is added to the valency of 4 elements. Therefore, you recognize is there any 4 bonding element. If there are 5 electrons coming to having with the bond, there 1 electron remains. So this electron is considered as giving the negative type of the material. So this is known as N type of semiconductor. In the P type of semiconductor, gallium, boron, indium, aluminium, these are the materials mixed with group 4 element, which means with the pure semiconductor, adding impurities such as the third group elements in the periodic table. Third group means trivalent, which means the element which gives 3 outermost electrons in their atomic structure. If we have the small explanation about simple explanation about these things, p-type is created with the combination of tetravalent element such as silicon and the trivalent element such as aluminum or gallium. So only 3 electrons shared to make a covalent bond. Here there is a hole occur without the lacking of electron. This hole gives the positive charge, and this is known as the p-type of semiconductor. This is the way how these extrinsic semiconductors are created as n-type and p-type. So you have to remember, for the intrinsic semiconductor, it means the pure semiconductor, whether it is mixing with the pentavalent or trivalent impurities, we can create n-type or p-type of semiconductors. They are called as extrinsic semiconductors. Here we go with the intrinsic semiconductors in brief explanation. The semiconductors which is in it is externally pure forms, it's known as an intrinsic semiconductors. Silicon and germanium are the most widely used intrinsic semiconductors. Both silicon and germanium are tetravalent. Each has 4 electrons in their outermost shell. Each atom shares its 4 valence electrons with its 4 immediate neighboring atoms, so that each atom is involved in the 4 covalent bonding structure. This is how intrinsic semiconductors are. They are in nature. As we discussed earlier, in this intrinsic semiconductor, the number of holes and number of electrons are equal. Therefore, the intrinsic semiconductor is electrically neutral. And we come up to the electronic structure and the formation of hole and electrons, how they are occurring. Even at the room temperature. Room temperature means 25 degrees Celsius. At the room temperature, the holes and electron formation in the intrinsic semiconductors are occurring frequently. Therefore, they have the free electrons or else the free holes, while the electrons are jumping out of the bonding structure into the material. Then the holes occur, while at the same time free moving electrons also there. So these free moving electrons and holes are always available in the intrinsic semiconductors because of their weak bonding structure. Right now, let's move with the extrinsic semiconductors. The characteristics of the semiconductor materials can be altered significantly by adding of certain impurity atoms into the relatively pure semiconducting material is known as extrinsic semiconductors. These impurities may be the pentavalent element or a trivalent element. These pentavalent or trivalent elements are mixed with the tetravalent pure semiconducting element to form n-type and the p-type of semiconductors. There are 2 N and P type of semiconductors. These impurities, although only added to the perhaps 1 part in 10 millions, 1 part in 10 millions, these impurities are added in the semiconducting material. While we are moving with these, how this mixing process is called. This mixing process of the tetravalent and the pentavalent or tetravalent and the trivalent element is known as the doping. This doping is the process where the pure semiconducting elements like silicon and germanium are mixed with trivalent or pentavalent element to form a extrinsic semiconductor is called as doping. This doping is occur to make the semiconductor to conduct electricity. Other atoms called impurities, these are added to these semiconducting elements. Mm, There are two types of doping as we came through the explanation earlier. N type and P type of doping. Doping with an element on the right increase the number of free electrons, which means if we are adding pentavalent element to the pure semiconducting element with the tetravalent that gives the N type because extra electrons, free moving electrons can be found in that structure. While we are adding the trivalent element to the pure semiconducting element of tetravalent element, then we will have a hole. Hole is the positively charged particle, then we will get the P type of doping. Then the material added is called to the dopant, and both kind of doping tend to increase the conductivity. You know why these two doping types are N types and P types? They are having holes and electrons. So in the semiconducting material, holes and electrons are conduct electricity. While we consider with a structural wave, then while we are doping these pentavalent and tetravalent element, then one electron remains freely, and when we are adding trivalent and tetravalent element, then there is a hole always remaining, and these electrons and holes are carry the electric current. Now we'll see the structural uh, way of presentation of the P type and N type of doping. Here antimony Sb, the antimony which is the pentavalent element which is added with tetravalent silicon, then one electron is remaining in their outer structure after the bonding occur. Then this pentavalent element called as the donor impurity in semiconducting materials of N type of extrinsic semiconductor. While we are considering the element of third group, it means the tetravalent element with the with the trivalent element with the tetravalent silicon, and we can observe their lack of one electron to complete their outermost orbit with 8 electrons. Therefore, the holes need to accept one electron to fulfill their structure. So, these third trivalent elements are called as the acceptor impurities in semiconducting elements. Now we'll come up to the PN junction. What are PN junction? PN junctions are the combination of positive type of semiconductors and the negative type of semiconductors. When a P and N type of semiconductors are joined, the large concentration gradient of the holes move from positive to negative side, as well the large concentration of electrons move from negative to positive side. Therefore, immobile positively ionized donor atoms and negatively ionized acceptor atoms are left behind in the N and P regions respectively. These electrically charged region created, this region is called as the depletion region or else the space charge That region is called as space charge or depletion region. Here see in the p-n junction, here everywhere the negative electrons in the n type of semiconductor. This is holes in positively charged materials, positively charged particles are there in the p type of semiconductor, while the electrons are moving towards the positively charged particles. Then the electric field created positively charged particles moves to the negative side, and the negatively charged particles moves to the positive side. Then this depletion area created in between them. This depletion area having a potential voltage. That potential voltage is called as barrier voltage. This barrier voltage for silicon semiconductor, whether the n type and p types are made up of silicon semiconductor, that is 0.7 volt barrier voltage. If it is made up of germanium semiconducting material, the barrier voltage is 0.3 volts. So we'll move to the p-n junction. While extra electrons are entered, the p side of the depletion region gives negative charges, and the extra holes entered the n side of the gives the positive charges. Due to this, the voltage difference is created in the depletion region. This depletion region, they have the voltage difference. If they having the voltage difference, the particles with charged particles tend to move in such a way. Therefore, we are connecting the external battery to the p-n junction to regulate the flow of charged particle. This is known as biasing. This is known as biasing process. This biasing process occur while we are giving the voltage greater than the voltage of the barrier, while we consider here. So if it is a silicon semiconductor, we have to give more than 0.7 volts. If it is a germanium silicon conductor, we are using germanium p-n junction we have to give more than 0.3 volt externally to giving voltage. We'll see what is happening while we are giving the external voltage to the p-n junction. There are two ways to giving external voltage. One way is the positive side of the p-n junction should connected to the positive side of the battery. Then what will happen, while this positive side of the p-n junction connected to the positive side of the battery, positive and positive, these repel each other. Then while these positive and positive gradient of charges repelling each other, what will happen, this charge pushed up into this way, and here to here the negative and negative charges, the whole charges pushing the negative electrons to this way. So the depletion area becomes narrow down, while the force which is given from the negative side of free electron and the positive side of holes, because the holes are filled by the negative electrons, and the depletion area narrow down while we are connecting the battery with positive to positive p type. And while we are connect the external DC voltage to the negative to positive side, what will happen, the negative electrons moves and merge with this, and the electrons are become neutral this way, and this way also these two are become neutral. So while they are becoming neutral, everywhere the depletion area broaden either way, so the barrier voltage become very high. So whether the depletion area is greater, then electric current cannot passes through that way. This is called biasing. Biasing can be occur in two types: forward bias and reverse bias. Here we go with the forward biasing with the symbolic way. The battery is there positive to positive and negative to negative sides, which is connected. Then in this way flow of electric current moves because the depletion area narrow down, as we explained earlier, and this through this high amount of current can be passes while we are connecting the diode in this way. If we connect in the diode in other way, which means positive to negative and negative to positive, as we discussed earlier, all the electrons and holes going to be neutral. In that way, then the depletion area broaden, then low amount of current passes through, or else at sometimes there is no current passing. Therefore in this way we can't use the PN junction to connect in a circuit. Here we go with the differences between forward bias and reverse bias. Forward bias. Positive terminal of the battery is connected to P-type and the negative terminal of the battery is connected to N-type of the semiconductor. And in the reverse bias, other side, positive terminal of the battery connected to the N-type and the negative terminal of the battery is connected to the P-type of the semiconductor. As we discussed earlier, forward bias depletion area is very thin, in reverse bias depletion area very thick. And in the forward bias, PN junction offers very low resistance, which means there are high current flow, therefore very low resistance occur. And in the reverse bias, very low current flow, therefore very high resistance. Current flow is very low, therefore high resistance occur. Here in the forward bias, an ideal diode have the zero resistance because it passes completely the current, and in the reverse bias the ideal diode have an infinite resistance because it has the high resistance. And PN junction diode is symbolized like this. The anode is denoted by the triangular shape and the cathode is denoted by the line perpendicular to the triangular. So we have to know how to connect the device with the circuit while we are drawing a circuit diagram. As well, we have to know how to identify the diode. If we have, this is the normally used diode with the cylindrical shape with the silver band. While we are holding the diode towards the silver band to our side, then silver band indicate the cathode side and the black colored cylindrical part is indicated the anode side of the diode. And as we already discussed, this is the symbol of the diode, as well as we know about other types of diodes such as LEDs. LED is light emitting diode. We will discuss about these LEDs in this session later. Rather than LEDs, there are so many kind of diodes. Gun diode, pin diode, several types of diodes are used in electronic devices and electronic appliances. We can use for these kind of diodes in the particular purposes. And as well, while we are learning electronics, we have to know what is rectification. The rectification is the conversion of the alternating current into the direct current, because we all know the electronic devices are worked in direct current, As we are connecting these electronic devices with the alternate current, we have to convert these into direct current and rectify the waves or current what we are giving to the devices, or else the waves can be rectified by using the DC components such as diodes into alternate current into direct current. These rectification can be categorized or can be explained in two ways. One is half wave rectification and full wave rectification. We can go through with the half wave rectification. In the half wave rectifier, the process of removing one half of the input signal. Input signal is given from the AC supply. If we are removing the one half of the input signal, establish DC level is called half wave rectification. In half wave rectification, the rectifier conducts current during positive half cycle of input AC signal only. So whether we are giving this kind of wave with the positive and the negative signals, then in the half wave rectification, output can be obtained like this because the other half is suppressed. In full wave rectification, the need for a center tape power transformer is eliminated in the bridge rectifier circuit. It contains 4 diodes. To rectify full wave, it means the both side of the wave, positive and the negative side, the 4 diodes are used as to rectify or convert AC current into DC current. So this is the bridge circuit what we are calling to rectify a full wave rectification, which gives the full waves in the form of output in this way. If we further move with the full wave rectification, if we see this is the positive and this is the negative side of the AC device, and first the current moves from positive side. Here it goes with the D1, then it comes through this and it moves like this, and it comes through D2 and come to the end through negative terminal. This is one wave, it is coming like this. So these one waves are positive and negative all filled. Then again, if it is moving from the we'll select another color to discuss this. Yeah, if it is the current moving from the negative side to positive side, right, which is going this way to D3, again coming this way, come to here, moving D4, and again come to the position of plus. Then if it is the wave of like this, plus and minus, then we can obtain we can obtain the wave like this. So this is the rectification of full wave current. So we'll see half wave rectifier uses only positive part of the sine graph and easier to make but more inefficient. In the full wave rectifier uses all parts of the sine graph, converts the negative to positive, positive to negative, and converts the negative to positive, and as more efficient, more commonly used rectification is full wave rectification. And smoothing. While we are learning electronics, we have come across the words semiconductors, intrinsic semiconductors, extrinsic semiconductors, p-n junction, diodes, rectification, full wave rectification, half wave rectification. And as well smoothing. What is smoothing? Smoothing is the performed by the large value of electrolytic capacitor. Smoothing is making the wave which is rectifier after full wave or half wave rectification, like in this way. In this, smoothing is not perfect due to the capacitor voltage falling while the capacitor is charging. The charges are getting charged, and while it is discharged, the graph goes like this. So we can't get the graph like this, the parallel to the principal line, but there is a small ripple we can obtain in the graph, however, which done the smoothing function. Smoothing function is carried out by connecting the uh, highest capacitance of the capacitor across the load in the rectifier circuit. And applications of diode, as we discussed, rectification, clipper clamping, circuit protection, voltage multiplier, it means amplification, and spike suppression. These are the most common applications of diodes. And as well, we have to learn about what are the other kind of diodes, which is mainly LEDs in our syllabus. We have to know about LED, light emitting diodes. Light emitting diodes are formed by the combination of gallium and arsenide. Gallium arsenide is the material which emits light, so the diodes which are emitting lights, able to emit light, can be called as light emitting diodes. These light emitting diodes are very popular electronic components, and these light emitting diodes are earlier used to produce signals, and as well as nowadays we have light emitting diodes in even in the TV screens also. So there are vast uses of light emitting diodes, and there are different colors of emitting according to their material uh, they are in the light emitting lens, exposé lens. Here are the parts of light emitting diode: exposé lens and anode wire, and the LED chip also there. Reflective cavity is there. While we are using light emitting diodes, we have to identify the cathode and the anode properly before we connect into the circuits. And as well, related to these semiconducting materials and semiconductors, we have to know about what are solar cells and panels. Solar cells also constructed using p-n junctions. You all remember the p-n junctions are the combination of p-type and n-type of extrinsic semiconductors. Therefore, the solar cells are also diodes. By arranging these solar cells in parallel or series ways, we can form solar panels. Solar panels are mostly used to produce electric energy earlier for the satellite functions. Nowadays we are using solar panels to generate electricity even in our household purposes too. These solar cells and panels are highly eco-friendly, as well as these are very effective and eco-friendly alternative energy for producing electricity too. So within the small space, there are large amount of current electricity can be produced. So if we are using these solar panels, the initial cost of the application is very high, a little bit of high, but however after fixing the solar panels, we can get this zero amount of electric bills. So up to this, I hope to finish this lesson, and also I am leaving the questions here related what we have discussed earlier. First question, what are semiconductors? You all know what are semiconductors, and you will be able to answer the question now after the discussion. And second question, explain the two types of semiconductors in brief. What do you mean by doping? Give two types of doping with examples. Fourth question, define the term p-n junction. And fifth question, what is biasing? What are the type of biasing normally occur in p-n junctions? And explain with necessary diagrams. And here we go with the sixth question, what are the difference between forward and reverse bias? Seventh question, there are various types of diodes, list out them and mention the main functions of a diode. And the eighth question, what is rectification? What are the ways of rectifying AC current and into DC? Question number 9, list out other functions of diode rather than the rectification. Question number 10, let LED also a kind of diode. Explain about them and give the functions of LED. Here we go with the 11th question. What do you mean by smoothing? You know what is smoothing function and how the capacitor should be connected in the circuit for smoothing the rectified waves. Question number 13, list out the situations where LED used in day-to-day life. You all know there are so many instances. And question number 14, solar panels are made up of diodes. Are you agree with this? If you are agree, you place in your answer, you write in your answer yes, or if you are not, you can write no. And what are the highest voltage that solar panels can produce? And the last, not the least, solar energy is an alternative energy to produce electricity. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages effects of solar panels as a source of electricity. Okay, I think this is the end of the session. We'll meet in another session. Thank you.